What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Solomon's Crown. So today we got our special guest, Gio, aka Black Phoenix, in the house again. He was recently on our last video when we were talking about education in America versus in the Caribbean, or rather, the West versus the Caribbean. And today we're just going to get straight into it. We're going to talk about Africa and the many differences and similarities with the West and what it's like for maybe people from the West to be in Africa. So, Will, I'm gonna let you go with this one because you've actually been in Africa extensively. I've been in Africa maybe like a month. Gio, have you ever been to Africa?
Nah, man, it's on the flight list, but
Yeah,
haven't
definitely
stamped the
worth
passport
it.
like that just yet.
But
Definitely worth the trip.
but with me and Gio being from the Caribbean originally, we can kind of give some insight on it.
Yeah,
But
I mean it's
Will,
essentially similar.
similar, but Will, we're gonna give you the floor and give a brief example or a brief like summary of what you saw, what you experienced in Africa, and what do you think Western people might have pros and cons, pretty much.
So yeah, I mean I spent a little time in Africa uh due to work, and I had a lot of time to experience the culture. I met a couple people down there, like a lot of good people, and the how they play Africa off, like it's just like uncivilized, like it's no infrastructure, things like that. Like that's far from what it is. I mean, they had a kebab shop down there at that point. It was like fire. So they have clubs, they got bars, like all types of stuff. And truthfully, it's not bad, to be honest. Like if anything, it's been up and coming. So I went to Ghana a couple times, and that's the main place that I enjoyed. And we've seen a lot of people coming up out of Ghana for the most part because they are kind of cracking the code for social media. They're getting a lot of people who are hungry for more, and they just don't want to be in Ghana anymore, or they want to highlight Ghana for all the amazing things that they've been doing. And I think that's dope because we talk about social media being somewhat bad at times, just like how people consume social media in the West. But a lot of the people from these African countries are using it to their advantage to highlight all the good things that are going on in Africa. There was a dude when I was in another part of Africa, his name is Slim Fit. He was an African rapper, and this dude made a music video. I'm still trying to find it, but I'll get the link and everything when I can find it. But he made a legit music video, like American style music video with just like his crew. And we would talk to him all the time. He give us insight like, yo, if you're gonna party, this and that, like this is the place to go. If you need to get food, if you need to get like any type of transportation or anything like that, like this is the place to go. And the thing about Africa in general is like the people are super humble, bro. Like you think people who are growing up in poverty and just like having all these things going on around them that aren't necessarily like comforts of life, um, the comforts of life that we have in America and other, as they would say, first world countries, they're still doing everything that we're doing, and they're dealing with the problems. And I think that's like the famous thing with Black people is like knowing how to deal with the struggle, bro. Like if the struggle's there, then you just deal with it. I mean, and just push through it. And they're definitely a prime example of just like pushing through the struggles. And I remember, I mean, they got hotels out there that are just like, I mean, the hotel I stayed at was like damn near a five. I mean, there's like a six-star hotel like down there in Ghana that
Oh,
was just
wow.
like, bro, like it looked like a mansion, like it looked like a Radisson Blue, and it was dope. And the people are just so humble, like, and it got me thinking, like, what would it take to really move back to Africa? Because it was nice being around other Black people. Like you go to these other countries where it's like, I mean, you guys are from Jamaica, so you guys kind of know what it's like, but like that sense of like being at home, that sense of like security that you have where you're
Oh
around,
yeah.
not being judged all the time for the way you look, like, and even like me, like whenever they would see me working or they just see me doing like random stuff and just chilling, they're like, yo, how can I get like you? Like, what experiences do you have that you could help me get to a better place? Because they're always striving to get to the next level. And I just hit them with knowledge, like, yo, what do you want to do? Like, I mean, I said the quickest way to get to America is marry an American woman, just like kind of get that visa and just like low key, like get it. And the thing is like, yeah, that's one way, but I mean, you can get a work visa. You can potentially, I'm not sure what the transition is for like somebody who would be coming from like an African country to get into the U.S. military, but I'm assuming that you would have to get a work visa, live in the country for a while, get a residency card, and then once you have your residency card, then you could potentially probably have to join the army. But either way, I mean, 4 years in the army and you get U.S. citizenship, not a bad deal, if that's the route that you're looking to go. But truthfully, I thought about it because I spent like almost probably like a year in Africa, and truthfully, I could see myself moving out there because it's nice, bro. Like, it's nice being around your own people at times. So that's just my brief synopsis. But I mean, how do you guys feel? I mean, I know you guys are coming from Jamaica, moving out of Jamaica, but I mean, we've talked about it where there comes a great responsibility when you essentially are successful and you're moving back to these countries because of the people around you. You have the people who are always like wanting what you have and not willing to work for it. And they see you as somebody who's bringing money in, bringing influence in, and they want that. They want to take that from you, especially with like the gangs and like the people who just aren't going to do anything with their lives, and they're always looking for that easy ticket, that easy way to come up, not realizing that even if they take it from you, like, how are they going to maintain it? And that's a big thing with people who get out of these situations, is they understand the level of maintenance that it takes to not only get out of these countries, but like also improve on that and build for their families and friends and things like that. So that's just what I feel for the most part, but you guys can take the floor.
What do you think, Gio?
So like I said, I'm probably the most I don't want to say ignorant, because ignorant has negative connotations, but you know what I mean, the classical sense of ignorance. You know, yeah. I just don't know the ins and outs of it as somebody who hasn't traveled to Africa. Mm-hmm. But what I know of Africa is more from like what I've seen, not on like mass media, but like I'll watch, like I try to think that I'm fairly cultured, you know, stick the pinky out, and watch like BBC World Reports, and like they have segments literally geared towards like Africa, the economy, the social aspects and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of what Will was saying, you know, these places are beautiful. These places are developed in certain parts. These places are established. They're building their infrastructure. They're coming up with their systems. And while I think the entire continent of Africa gets a bad rap, especially when it comes to the political corruption and stuff like that, that's kind of plagued a couple key name countries. And some of those countries also don't have the proper structure to kind of like build things and maintain them. As Will was saying, the platform is there. Like a lot of the African countries I focus on tend to be footballing countries or soccer nations. So your Ghanas, your Cameroons, South Africa is not bad, your Egypts and stuff like that. Those are the countries that I'll really look into and I would think of visiting. But I also resonate highly with what Will was saying about, you know, the sense of being home, because when I was in Jamaica, you know, growing up, I moved out of Jamaica when I was like 18 almost, right? The year of my 18th birthday is when me and my family were just like, oh, we're going to go live in Canada. And it's like, it's fine, right? I mean, you know, exactly. So it really wasn't until I came to Canada that I was identified as and began to myself identify as a Black person. When I was home, I was just Gio. Yeah. You know, I knew a lot of Indian dudes, but they didn't register as Indian dudes. Yeah, they were just my guys. Yes. Yeah. Right. I knew a lot of Asian dudes. I knew a lot of mixed people. people with Spanish backgrounds, but it just didn't register to me. Like everybody was either black or just like my guy or like female friends. Like I didn't care.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of those culturally or social societal
cultural,
things where
cultural.
Yeah, we're just like, yo, you're in Jamaica, you're just a dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just a man. It's like, yo,
it's like white dudes out there who have like heavy Jamaican accents and everything.
Listen,
yeah,
my dad's best friend, it looks more Asian white or just white / Asian than anything. And then I'll talk to him, and like since coming to Canada and going back, I'll look at him and I'll be like, yo, Uncle P, what's up? And he's white looking man. Okay, white. Capital WH, white.
With the capital W.
And then he'll talk to me with his accent because like he's just a regular guy. And like for a split second, my brain will break and I'm like, and then like it'll rejig itself and like reconfigure, and I'm like, oh wait, right, no, we're in Jamaica, and then go, right? Like there's always that initial culture shock to like rebalance out and be like, yeah, this is the norm that I grew up in, this is the norm.
Because that's low key, like when I go from because my family's in Mississippi, but when we used to travel every summer to Mississippi, it'd be like, yo, what are y'all talking about? And then like after like 3 or 4 days, I'm talking like them. I'm just like,
you just snap back at it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like how I can relate to that. So
exactly, it's basically the same thing, right? Yeah. So going back to it, I totally resonate with the, if you were there, everybody's just, it's majority black people. You probably still have Indians and people practicing like Asians, the Muslim faith and Asians and everything.
People, but refugees, like people just migrating to the country to get away.
Right.
But it's that region is like so vast that it's not uncommon.
It's not uncommon. But at the crux of it, you still feel as if, okay, well, I'm not being judged as a black man anymore. No, I'm just being judged based on my own merit. What do I carry to the table?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I totally empathize with that. When it comes to my perception of Africa, I've been, like I said before, like being ignorant on the situation before, like maybe a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And anytime I heard Africa, I would think of disorganization, corruption, and just like people always infighting. And I even maybe a month ago, I was having this conversation with my parents and my sister, because we try to be aware of situations and kind of like not woke, but like, we try to understand what's going on. Yeah. And right now, for this whole year, actually, there's been kidnappings. I forget which country, if it was South Sudan and somewhere else. And people are like kidnapping the kids out of the schools, man. Yeah, bruh. People literally kidnapping kids out of school in like big batches too, 20, 30, 40, 50 kids.
Oh,
man. Yeah.
I have not heard about that. We'll have to do some research on that.
Yeah, check it out, man. It's not just a one-off. It's been multiple instances.
Okay, yeah, you need to look at that. Yeah.
You got to check that out. It's crazy. And the one thing I always, spoke about, especially with my dad, I'm like, yo, we're all black people, first of all. Yeah. Secondly, you're all Africans in terms of the continent. But thirdly, you're all South Sudanese, or you're all Cameroonians, or you're all like Ghanaians. I understand the old school tribal mentality, but right now we're in 2020, 2021. We're in the 21st century, guys. Literally being a militia in your country and kidnapping kids is literally doing more harm than good. And I understand you have, your blood feuds and stuff coming from the 1800s, from which tribe.
That's another topic, bro, because that's the world in general, bro. Like,
that's the world in general.
Like where dudes are like, yo, 200 years ago, your family did this.
We don't got time for that.
We don't got time. You see, and when it comes, and as black people, we genuinely, just like Pop said, we don't got time for that. We already have enough prejudices against all of us, as it were, let alone being your own fellow countrymen. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, so when I used to think about Africa, those were the things that came up to mind first, because it depending on which news you watch, like we'll watch BBC, we'll watch Al Jazeera, we try to see more than just like your CNN and your MSNBCs, and we try to see more than that, right?
And even reading articles from journalists who've gone there firsthand, and
right, because when you're outside looking in, there's only so much you can see versus the person who's inside and living it, or at least even if they're living it for like a week. You know what I mean? Like they can go in there and tell you, listen, when the camera goes off at 7:00 at night because of curfew, we hear gunshots, we hear screaming, we hear this. The experience is different. So, you know, on a top level, I used to think about that as Africa, and then I said, you know what? No, it's more than that. There's got to be more than that. And the one thing that I can say, especially about Africa, is that there is a depth of talent that is just unmined. It's unparalleled. The amount of people that are there, I think we briefly touched on it in our previous video, actually, where we were saying, or maybe we did it before we recorded, but we were saying, you know, the mentality in a lot of the African countries is like, yo, we have to make it. Right? Like there's a passion, there's a motivation that you just got to get it.
And they'll hustle at anything, bro. Like that's the thing, is like, bro, I met doormen, I met cab drivers, I met all types of people, and they're just like, bro, I don't have an option. Like, bro, like
I gotta be really good at it.
Bro,
I gotta
remember
do this so I can do the next
driver, bro. Like he crashed his car, bro. Like had no front end, and he was still driving, and he's like, bro, I gotta get it, bro. Like I gotta get it. And it's just like, bro, like you don't have time to be like, yo, my car's broken, I can't like go to work today, bro. Like people got real life kids out here, they got real life jobs going on. One of my homegirls, she was selling clothes like on Facebook Marketplace, word of mouth, like just posting, DMing people, like because they use WhatsApp and stuff like that, and they like use their stories as their like selling point. Like, so imagine you had IG, like, oh, I got this thing, this article of clothing available for sale with prices and everything like that, and they're mobile, bro. It's like, if you need this, I'll come drop it off, or I'm going to be at this location. And it goes back into like what we were talking about, like these younger kids in America hustling, where it's like, yo, they're using IG and Facebook and all these platforms to sell a product because it's a want and need type thing. Like
it's what's popping right now.
Like, so why not take advantage of it? And bro, like it's so much competition out there too, because like, I mean, of course, like as soon as some like Americans and like people from like Europeans and things like that come into the country, they're like automatically assume like, oh, they got money. And they go where the money is at, bro. Like they at the airport, hey, you need a cab? I remember our cab drivers used to be like, yo, like if you want me to drive you around for the whole week, just here's my number, like hit me up, like don't call nobody else. Like I will be there within 5 minutes of you. Like I could literally be in my room like getting ready and be like, hey man, I'm gonna be downstairs in 20 minutes, and they'd be like, bet, I'm gonna be there. Walk down in 20 minutes, bro. They're talking to the door.
I think it's a game, bro.
No, it's not a game, bro. Like it's real life, bro. Like these dudes hustle, and then like you got America where like dudes don't even want to show up to McDonald's getting paid $18 an hour to like flip some fries and put food in the bag, bro. Like for free, bro. Like, bro, like $18 an hour, bro. Like I grew up in $7.75, if that, bro. We was making $7.50.
So hold on. You guys have minimum wage up to like $18 now?
Yeah, bro. Like
15, yeah, which state is this?
Like, I mean,
that's
I think
probably California.
Well, yeah, California. I know for sure New York is up there, but like, yeah, the cost of living
probably New York too.
But that's the thing too, is like, bro, like even with the cost of living going up and inflation and things like that, like, bro, you could make a lot happen if you're living under your means, and that's very possible if you have 3 roommates, like you got 3 jobs. I had 3 jobs, and I had a discount on rent, like a super good discount on rent. But even with that being said, bro, like sleep in your car, bro. Like I was damn near homeless at one point in my life, bro. And I sleep in my car like it ain't nothing. I sleep in the parking lot at work and just feel like, yo, I'm gonna just.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Like, bro, yo, chill. Like you, nah, but I mean that's the thing.
Bro, I have to, bro. Like the amount of shit that I do. Like,
no, I mean, low key, like it's that level of dedication, bro. Like, and I'm not even trying to rag on Pop. Like, yo, bro, I know how it is.
Nah.
I'm just giving them.
Well, it's like you just got to respect the hustle, though.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
But that's the thing, is like,
and African dudes have that. A lot of the African countries necessitate that to really be successful.
Even when they come to the States, bro, like, and then Pop was talking about, it's like, yo, working like a Jamaican, and it's like this dude like 5-6 jobs. Bro, what was it in Living? Not in Living Color. What was that? that show back in the day where with Damon Wayans and the Wayans brothers and Jim Carrey, and they literally had this skit with a Jamaican dude, and he's like, "Yo, I got 17 jobs, bro." Like, he's like, "I just got off my job. I gotta go back to another job. I gotta on my lunch break. I gotta go to work." And it's like, look, bro, like
you think it's a game?
No, it's
bro.
not, bro. Like, I fully understand, bro, because like trying to reach a certain level of success, and when you're coming from absolutely nothing, like, bro, why am I out partying? Why am I out spending money? Like, bro, I got stuff to do. I got a legacy to build. And I think that a lot of these dudes coming from like these African countries, African origins, understand that like it's game time. Like, bro, I'm getting paid almost 50 times more than what I was getting paid in these other countries. I can live good. Like, I don't have to live like in a shack, because some dudes do live in like, they'll come to the city to work and they'll live outside the city, where it's like, and that's the big thing too, bro. It's like we went from the main city to like the distillery, or like they had the, geez, why am I going blank? They had the beer factory. What are those called?
The brewery.
Yeah. So we went from the main city to the brewery, which was like 45 minutes outside of the country or outside of the city. And bro, like shacks, like it's a whole different world when you're getting out of the main city and going outside the perimeter. Like, because for us, going outside the perimeter, most of our main cities are suburbs, and it's nice depending on where you are. No, bro, like this is like dudes living in huts, dudes living in plywood shacks, like a lot more poverty outside of the main city. And dudes are driving like an hour and a half to get into the city just to be a cab driver, just to get this money. And then they're going back to their family, picking up groceries in the city, and then going back, or even picking up groceries on the way home to help other people grow. I mean, they got the street vendors who's like, yo, the buses are passing by. Hey, we got apples, we got oranges, we got toothbrushes, we got, like, bro, anything is up for sale, bro. Like, you could get all this stuff on the way home. And I low-key like that, because it's like, man, I'm on the way back to my house. Like, I forgot toilet paper. Bro, dudes are selling toilet paper, bro, on the way home. Like, bro, at the stop sign, bro. Like, I got toothpaste, I got deodorant, I got, like, bro, anything you need. And that's the level of hustle that they're dealing with. And this is just to put ends meet on the table, because like the dollar over there doesn't carry high. Like, bro, like you're selling toilet paper for maybe $10, bro, a day. And I mean, granted, they'll put food on your plate. Like, I mean, food is super cheap in these countries, like no cap. Like, you can eat, but what else are you going to do beyond that? And that's why, like, when these dudes come to America, it's like, bro, I'm making,
it's a game time, bro.
$1,200 from one job. Like, oh,
say less.
Sweet. It's sweet.
Yeah, it's sweet for, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I just picked up on a thing that I was thinking during this whole conversation, and I think this is the big contention between, because from what I've heard, there's a big contention between what you would call foundational Black Americans and immigrants, Black immigrants. So it touches back on the point where we talk about, like, you know, we're in these predominantly Black countries. We don't have to focus on, like, oh, I'm a Black man in X country. In that country, I'm the same. And it's like a big paradigm shift from when I was in Jamaica, just chilling with, like, you know, Gio and my other boys, and going to America, and it's like, oh shoot, like I gotta worry about police profiling or whatever. But not to go too much on that. It's just basically in that environment, in that mindset where we don't have to worry about being judged for our skin color. We're just there to focus on work, focus on our studies, to focus on our hustle. And I think the biggest downfall of why a lot of people from African countries and from Caribbean countries go to the Western countries is because we have the drive, we have the hustle, we have the mentality to become something, but we don't have the opportunity, because in Jamaica, at least I can speak for that, we don't have scholarships like that to go to college. It's either your parents have money or you have money to work and to go to university, because scholarships ain't abundant like that. That's why a lot of these dudes in Jamaica, they're either running track, either doing soccer, or they're really smart and they got scholarships. But on the other end, we have, like, I think from what I see, a lot of Americans, Black Americans, it's like, I think in America, we're so comfortable with our iPhones and social media and and it's even worse now with our iPhones and social media, that I think a lot of Black Americans lose the drive to become better because it's so easy to become stagnant. Like the school system is trash. It doesn't engage the mind of the kids. And then it's like by the time you get to college, either people just say, oh, screw it, like I'll take a degree in basket weaving, and then they have all this debt, or people look at it and they're like, oh, I don't want to get that debt, so I'm gonna join the military, or oh, I'm gonna hustle some t-shirts out of my back of my car. So I think, just to speak on that little like microcosm of the argument, I think that's why the contention comes where you see immigrants, like Black immigrants, to come in, they're like, oh shoot, like yo, I can work a job, yo, say less, I can eat food, I have a roof over my head, I'm good, bro. But like, and then some Black Americans might see that, Native Black Americans, they might see that and be like, oh, like why are they acting all bougie and like this? And I think that's what the contention is. Like a lot of the times the mindset is different because one set has the hunger and the other set like may be so used to like all the trauma and all the comfort, and it's just, I don't know, it's messed up. But I think we need to get over that as a people.
But we talked about the other day where we had the family that was coming from Africa, and the first thing that they're told when they come into the United States, they were like, yo, you guys are African, but like don't mess with Black people. And they told them all the negative things about the Black people. They're like, these people are they're poor, they're greedy, they're this,
they're lazy, probably
lazy, this and that. Yeah. So now you have Africans coming from another country into America, and their first thing is like, yo, we don't like Black people because y'all are lazy, y'all are this, y'all are that. And then you have the Black people who are being told that Africans are coming into the country, and it's like
to steal their jobs,
steal jobs and all that stuff.
But that they're poor, they don't know what it's like to live life in these countries, and they're ignorant and this and that. Sure. And truthfully, when I went to school, a lot of the smart kids were the Africans, bro. Like I'm talking about Somalians, Ghanans, like even, I mean, I don't know where everybody, I mean, Ethiopia, a lot of these dudes, and even the females were like super smart. But like, bro, like
man,
yo, like they did not mess around when it came to education. And I mean, even now I look at them, I still follow a lot of them on Facebook.
We can talk about that too.
And they're like doing amazing things. Like their families are very close knit. They still hold to their traditions from their countries and everything like that. And it's one of those things where like even Africans coming from Africa or wherever they're coming from in general, like Haiti, things like that, like they hold on to the family first mentality, and everybody in their family is going to do well because that is the expectation of them. Even if they're just, they know that they have to work. They know they're not going to be a bum sitting at the house and things like that. And granted, you have a couple who are lost in the way and things like that. And that's just in general, like people get lost on their journey and things like that, but they still have that family support. And it's not like most Black African or Black American families where it's just like, oh, like, yeah, I got cousins who just be doing wild stuff. Like,
but look at it though. So a lot of those people, when they immigrate, like I'm a product of it, Pop's a product of it. We emigrate as a family.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to those Africans, it's more than just a basic nuclear family. It's not just mom, dad, 1 or 2 kids. This is mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, uncle, 3 kids, and a cousin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when they move over as an entire unit, or like piece by piece to eventually become the entire unit on the west side, they have this solidarity, which then informs that understanding that, listen, everybody needs to pull weight, everybody needs to contribute in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, like you said, maybe you miss out 1 or 2. A cousin goes, wayward, an auntie or uncle disappears or whatever. But that's just corruption. But no, that happens everywhere. Right? We see this happen everywhere. And I think that's kind of one of the things that the native Black people in America or North America actually don't have, is that solidarity, that understanding that, listen, we want to succeed together. everybody's doing something.
Yeah,
Don't belittle people because there's going to be sacrifices. We understand you have a mechanical engineering degree. Work at McDonald's for a year, please. Make it work. We can figure out. A lot of North American Black people don't have that. I've witnessed some very smart people do some very dumb things and kind of wash themselves up, and it's disappointing. It's straight up disappointing.
And that's the thing too. So I can speak on that as far as my family. So my family, right now, the main hitters in my family, who, I mean, truthfully, it's just me, my sister, and my mom. I have my stepdad and everything like that. But like, once my grandfather died, which we talked about before, and when I was in 9th grade, that was a huge shift in my family, because my grandfather was kind of like that, stayed to the traditional values, held the family together. His house was Thanksgiving every year. Thanksgiving, everybody came, cousins, aunts, like everybody. And then also my grandmother, whenever we were in Mississippi, like everybody in my family in Mississippi lives on the same block, bro. Like if anything goes down, like my great aunt lived there, my cousins.
The family's riding out.
Yeah, it's everybody. So if one thing goes wrong, yeah, we're helping out. Yeah, if another thing goes wrong, we're helping out. So we stuck to those traditional Southern aspects. And I think in the South, it's the biggest example of like how that can work, where, I mean, families will buy up a whole block and not even know that they're sitting on a gold mine, because that's just what they did. They're just like, yo, we wanted to be close to family, but we own this whole block. And that's kind of like how my family is in Mississippi. But like right now, me, my mom, and my sister, we're all on the same page as far as like where we want to go in our lives, where we want to go, and where we want to succeed with. Now, I know my family might watch this, but as far as bringing anybody else in, it's like one of those things where it's like, it can be a hindrance, because me, my mom, and my sister have, like, we weren't always close, but we had a mutual understanding that there was a certain level of things that needed to be done. And that's why me and my sister have been so successful in our lives, because granted, we stressed my mom out, but we always knew that, yo, we need to be successful in some aspect in our lives, so that she doesn't have to always worry, so she doesn't have to always be essentially taking care of us. So with that being said, I mean, our family works as a unit. So like all the kids essentially take care of our parents and take care of our grandparents and our aunts and everything like that. But I imagine if we all were on the same page and we started doing things. I mean, I got my cousin who's like computer engineering. I got my other cousin who's in real estate. I got my other cousin who's in crypto and stocks and stuff like that. So like getting back to family gatherings where it's like, okay, everybody's doing these things. Like, what can we do together collectively to build a dynasty, to build a strong family? And that's the biggest thing with some of these African families that I see, is like everybody, like when they have their family gatherings and everything, it's like, oh, well, this guy's a doctor, so like maybe you can go work with him for a little bit and do an internship. And then that in turn puts them in a better place, and then the family is in a better place. So they're constantly, like you showed, like they're constantly growing. It's a snowball effect. And
exactly,
it gets to a point where the family is just successful in general. And I've seen it, bro. Like I've seen it firsthand, where like these African people in America are doing so much better than people they started in the same locations. Like I've seen people grow up in Section 8 housing, and now they live in like a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, or like whatever house they want to build. Like they contribute to society at the base level, like you need to grind up to get where you want, but they're never looking at things as in like, we're content, because truthfully, it's a generational thing. And the thing is, like you guys said, like you still taking care of people in your home country or wherever you started from. That's always the end goal, so that you can go back to those countries and kind of live peacefully and be like, yo, like I don't have to worry about my kids. I don't have to worry about my cousins. I don't have to worry about my brothers. So,
bro, real quick, I just want to throw my 2 cents on this. And no, sorry, Pop. It's funny you bring that up, because this year, especially with all the COVID stuff, me and my family, we actually started, well, me and my cousins, my generation of cousins, a few older ones and a lot of the younger ones, we actually started doing something like that, where a few of my cousins, they've trying to tap into their entrepreneurial skill set. And me being in IT and knowing software and stuff, my sister's into psychiatry and stuff like that. We're like, yo, listen, we should have a mind meld where like we all come together and try to big up each other and like show us how to promote and kind of like cross train the skills and stuff and come together, because like a lot of the Caribbean families are large, right? We have a lot of aunts and uncles and stuff, and if we actually put our minds together, we would push a lot of communities forward, upwards. Yeah. So we started doing that this year in like WhatsApp group and everything. But I just found it interesting that you brought that up. It takes time. Yeah. It takes skill set, right? But like our generation is so learned in like academically. We got more bachelor's degrees and more. Yeah. We can build a path from nothing.
But that's the thing, is like we're building a path from nothing because we are setting the precedent.
We're setting the bar now.
Exactly. So I think that's where we're coming in. I mean, even me and Pop, we talked about it, where it's like, we had 2 gaming channels. They weren't necessarily struggling. It was just like the dedication that it took to get to that. And then we're having these real life talks and group chats, and it's like, why aren't we just like doing something different with this? And that's kind of how me and Pop came together and started doing everything, because it's like, we have an end goal that is so much bigger than just what we're doing right now. But this is a part in a process that will get us to that level. And truthfully, like when I reach 40, 41, like I told everybody, like, I'm not working, bro. Like I'm not like, I got kids to raise. Like, I'm just going to be like, I'm good. So
the facts. But let me just tap in, and this will be my closing remarks as well. So, and this could definitely be a video that can be a collab video with my vlog and this main podcast. So I did a lot of extensive research into East Asian anthropology and history, and I think one of the biggest reasons why you see Asians in the Western Hemisphere or in the Western civilization, and you see them work so hard in their own home countries, is because of this concept of filial piety, meaning that I, as a parent, my sole duty is to make sure that my kids are good for life, and then vice versa with the kids. It's like my sole duty is to make sure that I work hard and I become something in life, so that when my parents are old, I can take care of them. And I think that strong bond with family is what makes them so successful in these countries. Because, and not only Asians, look at all these other groups in the Americas, like the Italians, the Italian mob, and
the Hispanics,
Irish, and the Hispanics and everything. It's kind of like it's like booms, like XYZ came from our home country. Like, let's set them out in the house. Like, oh, so-and-so is in trouble. Cousin XYZ is a lawyer. Let's go help him out. Or cousin XYZ is in banking. Let's go help them out. It's like the black dollar, it transfers so fast. I think it's like ridiculously fast. It comes out of our community. Where you look at, like, in Asian communities, their dollar just like stays in the community.
It cycles in the community.
It cycles in and it builds up. And it's like, what Gio is talking about with his family coming together and building family, and what you're talking about, Will, and like, back in your home, your grandmother's side in Mississippi, they own a block of land and they're helping each other. Is like, that's one of the key things that we need in the Black diaspora to move forward, is that we need to have an emphasis on family. And then it's like me and Will, we always reiterate on the fact that, like, we need to build back the Black family, or the family unit in general, not just the Black family, the family unit in general. It's so important in building a stronger community. But that's all I have to say on this talk. Like, Africa, it's from what I can draw from being in the Caribbean and from what I've seen, there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, but I definitely think it's something that people in the Black diaspora need to check out. But that's all I have.
And with that, we're out.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming by, Gio, and we'll see you in the next one.
Be kind.
Peace.